Welcome to another episode of Wisdom Wednesday, where we're here to empower you, to support you for the challenges of being a woman over 40. I think yesterday a lot of people have saw my post regarding someone who was going hungry in our group, and that is not allowed to happen. I always say that it is important to look after ourselves. And as a woman over 40, we thought that we should be in a better position. We thought that we have used our life to build what we need to do. But unfortunately, sometimes life doesn't actually become the same. So, how to prevent this from happening? Today, I have an expert here, Carrie-Ann. She's going to share a few tips for us to help us in budgeting and managing our finances so we never have to go into that situation again. Hi, Carrie-Ann. Thank you so much for being in our space today. Please share with us about what you do.
Thank you so much for having me today, and it's an absolute privilege to share this with you. So basically, just a little bit on my background, my story is I was never good with money. I was never taught how to manage money. I lived for the now, so I had no plan for the future. I didn't save anything. I spent everything that I had. Then it got to the point where I was spending more than what I had with multiple credit cards, loans. I even had gambling and alcohol addictions, which obviously didn't help financially, and to the point where I was actually homeless. So I ended up couch surfing with some friends for about 6 months. I realized that I needed to take responsibility, even though I wasn't taught how to do anything. And if you don't know, you don't know, you know. So I set myself a goal to change my thinking about money, how I manage money, how to manage money, and budget. And pay off my debts. I got to the point where I did pay off my debts, which was fantastic, but it quickly went back into debt. And then I realized it wasn't the only the process of budgeting and managing it, but it's also our mindset. So once I changed my mindset, everything changed. So with all of that journey, I've now put it into a book to help others go through that process and know that no matter what your situation now, you can turn it around. It will take time, but it is absolutely achievable.
It is so true. I think that a lot of us don't understand that we have to start from somewhere,
Yeah.
but we don't have to give ourselves that mindset that we are too late, that's not possible, there's no way of turning around things. Just listening to your story, it has shown a lot of people that there's hope out there. Just
Yeah.
like we was talking behind the scene and we were saying that just yesterday we had someone in our group sharing that they're going hungry. And even that, let me stress it out. We are not a charity platform yet. We are not allowing any financial assistance in there because we have no capability of validating what that person is, what that post is about. But for
Yeah.
this lady, for instance, I actually been talking to her for a bit, and I know that she was struggling. She's a very highly educated lady, but she's
Hmm.
suffering from some health issue of her own. So it has become very difficult. And for me, one of the big things is I can't see anyone going hungry. I
Yeah.
really think that that is the most basic thing that we need. However, I know a lot of us are struggling. So
Hmm.
I personally actually sent her a Coles pickup so she can actually go into Coles and pick up some food in there. I ordered it for her and did all of that. That sort of thing I can do. So I wanted to let our members know if you're really in desperate needs, there is a lot of resources, not just from our
Yeah.
group. There's Ask Lisi, there's a lot of resources that you can actually get for her help. Don't go
Hmm.
hungry on it. So
Yeah.
let's go back to our topic. So
Yeah.
how do we actually prevent that? Like what roles of our mindset play with our financial well-being?
Absolutely. You need first the first thing that we need to do is look at ourselves and understand why we spend the way that we do. Because just treating, oh, I'm not going to spend or I've got this problem or anything like that, it's just a band-aid if you're addressing that. You need to get back to the crux of why you're doing the things that you are, and I have a little like a workbook kind of thing where people can go in and sort of understand um, why they spend the money that they do. Were they taught about money? Did they? Because we all watch our parents, and we can't blame them because they did the best that they could. But this generation growing up now, um, all they see is money coming out of a wall or tap and go type thing. We don't even see money coming out of a wall. But for us, you know, a lot of life has changed, and it's changed so quickly. And obviously, with our expenses, the cost of living crisis is just absolutely crazy. Trying to cut everybody out. But you can, like you said before, there are so many resources available to help us through. But the first step is to work on our mindset. So we need to grab a journal or a book, write down every time we go shopping. I know it sounds like a lot of work at the time, but it will help you. When you go shopping, how are you feeling? You know, think of things like, how long did I have to work to pay for this thing? After you've bought it, how did you feel? Did you feel regret or shame? Do you buy stuff and hide it in the cupboard and, all this type of thing? Is it like an adrenaline rush? Um, Working out your why you spend the way you do, and then work out your spending triggers, because we all have triggers. So we need to work out if you're having a bad day, if you've had an argument with somebody, if you're feeling emotionally down or that type of thing. A lot of our spending triggers are wrapped around emotions. Um, you write them down. Once you identify what they are, then you can put a fixer in place. So when you know that you've triggered, it's like, oh, hang on, I remembered this. This is my trigger, and this is what I'm going to do instead. So you're preparing yourself um, mentally, like with your mindset on how to manage your money better, and that it takes a while, and it's a process of thinking about what you're thinking about, but eventually it will become second nature to you, and your mindset will change to a positive abundance mindset rather than a poverty mindset, which is, I'll never have enough, I'll never get out of this, I can't, it's all negative. So working on your mindset is the first step to changing your financial journey.
I hear you. I hear you. I think that like I also went through poverty. I remember at one stage when I was with my ex-husband,
Yeah.
we would have times that we don't even have enough to actually buy a meal. And there would be times that I have to buy discount bread that will last me for a whole week. So I think that somewhere in our head, that's where the poverty mindset come in. That
Yes.
is when that we feel like that, oh, we experienced it. It was such a trauma. It was horrible. And yes, being hungry is horrible. And
Yes.
I get that on for everyone. But we often stay in that mindset that we are still there, not
Yes.
looking at what we have right now and how we can use gratitude to actually towards all of this. Something that I learned about money that completely changed my mindset and helped me is a phrase that they call arigato money, which is a Japanese place saying thank you money. And I started doing that. So thank you money is not just about when you're receiving it. It is when you are spending it, because it is a blessing being able to spend that money. And I
Yeah.
start doing that. So when I buy something, I will say thank you money. Thank you for the opportunity of me being able to spend. And as soon as I do that, I feel the alignment of money a lot better, because let's be honest, I was scared. I
Yeah.
have money block because of my ex-husband. He used to take all the money that I have around me. He will steal my bank card and go and actually take the money out. And each time it's not something like he feel hundred, it's thousands and thousands of dollars
Yeah.
being taken out. So I'm hearing it. I can hear some of our members actually say, "Yep, that was me. That was where I was controlled. That was all of that." I
Yes.
hear you, and a lot of us been through that as well. So
Yes.
please don't feel like that you are alone. But there is a way to actually get better and get over it.
Absolutely. And money is actually a tool. It we should make it work for us, not it work, it work us. It's a lot of us are like with credit cards and loans and everything like that, we rely on the buy now, pay later because we have this instant society. Um, I teach high school students diploma of business, and I mentioned lay-by. They didn't understand what that was. I'm thinking, people, you need that patience again to save up for something and have be rewarded that way. But absolutely, we need to respect money and have that value of money.
Definitely. So, how does the financial challenges faced by women over 40 today different from facing by younger individuals?
Yeah. We've lived a life of our growing up was a lot different then. So um, back in our days, it was always, the family unit supposedly put out there. We all understand, we all have, there's stresses in families, there's broken families and everything like that. But as we were growing up, we had this theory that the family unit, you'll never struggle. The Australian dream of, buying a house will be in our reach, everything like that. In reality, that's not what happened. So we have this fantasy that was sold to us. I mean, it's a great idea, but in reality, we weren't taught how to get there. Okay. The younger generation these days, I have noticed a bit of a trend of people uh, budgeting more and understanding the value of money. Not all of them, but I am starting to see a trend on that. The instant society of the youth today, they want this and that and everything else. But I have started seeing some youth, because I work in the high school, some of them are talking about, I'll save up and buy my car, I'll save up, and do this type of thing. So there is a slight little change happening in the background for the youth here on how to manage money. But for us, the majority of us were never taught. We were just assumed it will all fall into place. And then when it didn't, we have trauma because, and that shame and depression and anxiety, everything like that just fills us. And when we feel shame, we don't want to talk about it. We don't want to, everybody else out there looks like they've got their lives together. We should too. So we all sit in silence and we struggle. And that's not the way to go. So we need to reach out to each other. We need to talk about these issues, and we need to work together and encourage each other to turn it around.
Mm.
Mm.
Definitely, there is way to actually do better. So if I'm going to ask you for a few quick tips that it can refresh us, what would that be?
Okay. The first thing is, um, when you budget your money, you need to have your money working for you. And a lot of people, when they set up a budget, you're normally told, what is it, the 50-30-20 rule. I'm sure a lot of women in the group have heard of that rule. That didn't work for me. And it didn't really give me clarity of where my money needed to go. So, what I recommend, and everyone needs to do what's right for them. So, but this is my recommendation, is your take home pay, what you get in your hand, say it's weekly, fortnight, whatever. If you work it down to weekly, um, you 70% of that money is for all your living expenses. Okay, your housing, your cars, your medical, like everything you need to survive. 10% you need to save for your future self. I'm not a financial advisor, but if you want to invest that money, then you would speak to a reputable financial advisor. 10%, and I strongly believe in this, is giving. So 10% of that, give to your a charity, a church, however you want to do. Nobody ever got broke from giving. And as we know, there is so much need in the world. And our 10% is just our contribution to help them. And then the other 10%, I like to call you splash cash. So spend that on anything that you want. So that gives you the sense of, I can go shopping with my 10%, take your cash out or whatever, and just go shopping, enjoy your coffee with your friends. You can use that to save up for something that you like. So you're spending guilt-free, you're saving, you're supporting, and you've got your bills covered. With that as well, another tip to follow on, if you are spending more than your 70%, you need to look at where you can cut back. Now, I know we have a lot of things that we think are essential, but when I was homeless, the only essential thing is what I needed was food, water, and a roof over my head. So when you get to that point, stream back, negotiate your bills, look for a better phone deal. You know, maybe if you've got TV subscriptions, just put them on hold for a little while. If you're spending less than your 70%, you can use that amount, what I call your excess, and put it towards paying off your bills a lot quicker. That's a very short process, a description of the process that I help people with. But that's the first thing, is obviously putting your money where it's going to work, and then looking at what you're currently spending, pull back or renegotiate or look where you can do better. There are some ways that you can increase your cash flow by selling things that you don't need, that you don't use anymore. You could also look at, there's so many different ways people can increase their income. There's Uber Eats, you know, driving around doing deliveries and things like that. If you're educated at something, you could tutor. You could bake and sell them at the markets, that type of thing. So there is a wide range of, you know, looking at how to increase your cash flow. But the important thing is to remember is your money needs to work for you. Okay, you need to give it a job. Okay, so they're my little quick basic tips on how to have that money sorted, so it will help you. And it may take some time to, you know, build up your savings, because it's really important to have an emergency account. And when you've got nothing, and I had nothing, it does take a little while. But when you get that momentum, you know, you see it and it's exciting. It's like, oh my goodness, I've actually got money in the bank, and it's really lovely.
That is true. I think every little bit starting to help. Like I always say, that doesn't matter how much it is. If it was $5, $10, that you can actually start from a smaller space and then go from there. Like it doesn't have to be a lot. Those loose changes that you come home with every single day, put it into a jar. These little things help you to actually to be just have that safety net every now and then, looking as like, oh, I do have a little bit of money that is in there that can help me in that situation, because the fear of not having enough is such a real fear for a lot of us. And I think that's something that we should think about. So please tell us, tell our audience how to get in contact with you.
Yes, absolutely. So I have a website, which is budgetright.com.au. So RIGHT, Budget Right. In there, I've got a fortnightly newsletter. I've got Instagram and Facebook, which is Budget Right Book. And I also have my book, Budget Right, which is really good, very easy. A lot of fun, because there's like little activities that you do along the way to sort of work that out. So yes, budgetright.com.au is the best way to contact me.
Okay, excellent. I'll get your contact in the comments there. So if anyone have any problem or anything they'd like to discuss, feel free to put it into the comments there. Carrie-Ann will be able to go back and actually answer you. So thank you, Carrie-Ann, once again for sharing your knowledge with us. It has been fantastic chatting with you today.
Thank you so much. And big blessings to you and everybody listening. I'm really hoping that this information will help you.
Thank you so much. Thank you once again for our audience and our listeners for joining us on Wisdom Wednesday. We look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.
Thanks, Martha.